In this video, we're going to be talking about the 1948 film noir directed by Jules Dassin, The Naked City. We're Coffee with Aliens at the Movies, a film education and film review channel. My name is Robert Bellissimo. I'm an actor and acting teacher.
I'm Steve Chambers. I'm a writer and actor.
And if this is your first time here, or if you haven't already done so and become an alien by subscribing to our channel and coming and having coffee with us, please click on the red watermark subscribe button in the bottom right of your screen.
This is your film noir pick, Naked City, 1948, as you said. What do you like about this film? What's it about?
I've seen it a few times before, and I never quite knew why I found it so appealing. And then I watched it again the other night, and I think I know why. Because it, apart from the beautiful, real, locations, it was one of the first Hollywood films where they went out and actually shot in New York. Very little was shot in the studio, and that was highly influenced by the Italian Neo-Realism, this documentary approach to filmmaking that Jules Dassin utilized beautifully in this film. But I just love the fact that there's really beauty in ordinary life. It starts off with people sleeping at night, cutting to all these different 8 million stories of New York, seeing people working at night, a baby waking up at 6 a.m. and it has this interesting voiceover of the inner thoughts of people, like the woman mopping the floor early on. She goes, "Oh God," she says something about hating people, and the woman with the baby talking about, "Oh, you're a 6 a.m. baby, aren't you?" And it's all going into everyone's heads, and everyone just waking up, everyone hitting the rat race of getting on the subway and going to work, and of course there's a murder during the night as well, which is one of the many stories of New York, and this is the focus of the story. So it's basically investigating how and why this blonde 26-year-old was killed and who did it. And it's very procedural. It shows what police officers do when they're investigating something. In this case, they have very few leads. So it's like, okay, well, finding the first lead, going at it. Then, okay, where did she work? Well, let's go talk to the people she worked with. Who is she dating? Well, let's bring in her ex-boyfriend, and so on and so forth. And it's repetitive, but it's necessary. And I love that the cops, this is not like most noirs with the hard-boiled cops, Humphrey Bogart, the tough, cynical cops. They're very normal guys. One guy's the 20-year veteran, and the other guy's the rookie. We've seen that story many, many times, but they're very humorous. They're very, they're family men. You see the young guy, he goes home with his son and daughter, and he goes back to work every day. And I think they're just saying, this kind of life is no different than anybody else's. And it's very pro middle class. It's very pro working class families, because the people who ultimately, were the ones who robbed that led to this crime, were people who wanted to get rich quick. It's like you see the ex-boyfriend. He's one of the ones they question early on. He's lying constantly about everything that he was doing, and he even says, "Well, my family came from money, but I couldn't quite live up to them. I couldn't quite find any success. So what does he do? Well, I'm going to start robbing. I've got to be the rich guy." And then the woman who gets killed, you find that she's in on it. And every time they cut to anyone rich, like when they're investigating about the stolen jewelry, those people are always portrayed as, the people who live in cocktail parties. Like they're living in their own privileged world. It's not necessarily their fault. It's just because that's what they know. They have everything, they get everything, and they don't really know what the world is like. There's a real sort of a beauty in having to punch in, punch out, and take care of your family. Like why are people feeling like they're not interesting? Why do people think that isn't noble or worthy of a story? I've even heard my parents sometimes say that they feel that they're like, oh, we're just dull, we're just ordinary. And I'm like, well, why is that not interesting, right? So I really picked up on that this time around. And of course, it has the classic noir hallmarks, of course, with the investigating of a murder, a dark murder in the middle of the night by a really seedy character. But it's not the cynicism of most noirs. It's very much more optimistic, I thought. And you have to really be in the mood for it because it's so plot driven. The leads, things come up so quick. You have to really be focused on the details. I find it either that or it goes over your head.
Well, that's not my experience at all. Interesting. I mean,
it seemed indifferent.
Everything you said about it, that's interesting. I feel you read a lot into it compared to me. I'm not saying it's wrong. I agree, like everything you said is correct. It doesn't feel like a movie, and you could say that's a good thing. I didn't think so. I did find it very stilted. I found I think it looks beautiful. Once we get to the actors talking, I find it really stagey. And you're just telling us like the page by page of how the thing is done. And then, okay, I didn't find that there was any drama in it. It's still worth a look though.
For the flaws that you see in it, I agree with the fact that, yeah, the performances are, some of them are quite hammy. I did think the two police officers were, the rookie and the veteran, were much more natural. But yeah, everyone else is very somewhat artificial. But apart from that, I mean, that's what sort of drew me in. That it like there of course is drama because this person was murdered. They have to solve the crime. And obviously the great chase in the last 15 minutes. I love that, and everything that they even have the voiceover of Willie Gaza, the killer.
That's right.
Very early on, and I forgot about that when actually if you watch it the second time, they tell you who the killer is really early on. Like his voiceover, his inner thoughts start. And it's sort of how he's basically, you don't know if that's literally what happened is happening, like him watching the cops, or is that just what he's thinking? He's arrogant enough to think that they got nothing on him, and they had very little on him. But I like the fact that it seemed like they had really no leads, very little leads that led nowhere, and it was just these hunches that they had.
What happens is because the film looks so real when it's outside, which is a lot of it. I think because it looks so real and feels like a documentary and the photography pulls you in, that once you get to a stage setup on a set with actors that, again, to me, you really notice the hammy or stilted acting because it thus far has looked so natural.
There's something about this going into all these lives, even just glimpses all over the city, and obviously New York is a character, right? So it's like, well, great, this city's so big, how are we going to find this guy? And how even Gaza is, when they question in the area he lives in, people who may know him, everyone loves him, right? And that's another thing about criminals, right? Like, they could be the sweetest to a little girl and buy her an ice cream cone and then be killing someone that very night.
Jules Dassin, the director, you might know. I don't know much about this guy. I briefly read about
I like Dassin a lot, yeah. And he did a lot. He did a number of noirs, Brute Force and The Night in the City, and of course he was blacklisted.
Yes. He was in Greece, no? Didn't he go?
Yeah,
not the musical.
Led to Europe, and he made Rafiki, which is a French film, and he made another a film in
Top
Cappy.
Top Cappy.
Yeah, that's the one.
Topaki or something. Yeah,
something like that. Yeah, he got married to the lead actress in that, and they actually both were very political. Part of me just can't let it go. I really know what you mean. There is a dryness about it, but I think the dryness is the beauty of it. I think just showing the inner workings of what people have to do every day, and they just happen to be police officers, and what they're saying
That's interesting.
about money and wanting wealth at all costs is ridiculous, and it leads to crimes. And money is a big motivator in our Western culture, right? So I think it had a lot to say about that. So yeah, maybe it feels like a documentary or like something out of a book, but at the same time, it works cinematically. I find it just found a really beautiful middle ground. It's like an anti-noir, because it's not like a lot of noirs. It is, and then it isn't.
For my whatever, it's not a film noir. It's a unique film. It's a unique experience, and I do encourage people to see it.
So, but now I can't say this is a film noir you need to know.
Oh.
Editing.
Cut that out. No,
note to the editor.
Wait. Come to think of it, this is a film noir.
There are the clear-cut noirs.
Yeah, the big sleep, like stuff like
Double
that.
Indemnity.
Oh yeah, Gilda.
It's just like, and those are more where you see the main character in that is all about the get rich quick.
That's right,
like that was a big noir, and we see that in Night in the City. But in Night in the City,
do.
It's saying, well, this is wrong. I mean, it says that in Double Indemnity as well, because another thing with noir is that no one got away with anything. Like they made sure you were caught, but the main characters were the ones allured by the rich, whereas here it's the supporting characters. It's not the leads as the cops, right? So
I agree.
Flips.
So it's still noir.
Yeah.
There. All right, you're okay.
I think I will keep all that in for comedic
effect.
effect.
Oh, totally. Where you can watch it, it's on the Criterion channel.
Yeah.
And then if you're in the US, it's on HBO Max. But if you're anywhere else, Criterion channel is your best bet, or finding a physical copy. And I know the Criterion has released a new physical copy.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you so much for watching, everyone. Again, if this is your first time here, and if you haven't already subscribed to our channel and become an alien, please do so by clicking on our logo, which you'll see floating above the top right of my head here to give you instant subscription. Click on that, and we will see you next time.